Can bacteria growing in a Petri plate be regarded as a population? Yes, bacteria growing in a Petri plate can be regarded as a population. A population is a distinct group of individuals of a particular species living in a defined area. All of the students in a classroom would be an example of a population. To understand more about population, we must know about the attributes of population and also about the growth and growth models. The member of a population can interbreed or can sexually reproduce or even asexually reproduce. Species from asexual reproduction can be considered as a population for ecological studies. The example of population include the total number of zebras in a forest or the number of orange trees in an orchard. We already know that natural variations occurs at the population level to evolve desired traits. Hence, it is important to know population ecology. So, what is population ecology? And why is it important? Population ecology is an important area because it links ecology to population, genetics, and evolution. An individual has birth and death, but if we consider a population, it has birth rate and death rates. In a population, these rates refers to a per capita birth and death. The rates is expressed as changes in the number of members of the population either increase or decrease. If we take an example of a city where 10 lakh people were present in the last year, there is 50,000 newborns and 35,000 deaths in this year. Then the current population will be 10,15,000. The birth rate is calculated as 50,000 divided by 10 lakhs, that is 0.05, and the death rate is calculated as 35,000 by 10 lakhs, that is 0.035. Another attribute is sex ratio. Can you define sex ratio? It is understood that an individual can be a male or female, but a population has got sex ratio. Sex ratio is expressed as the ratio of males to females in a population. For example, if a population contains 1,000 people and with a male number 550 and female number 450, then the ratio will be 5.5 is to 4.5. Now that you understood what sex ratio is, we'll see the structure of age pyramids. Have you ever thought why does Japan Industries are looking to utilize Indian youth as manpower? It is because Japan has declining age pyramid. So what does age pyramid here mean? An age pyramid is the structure that results from plotting the population's age distribution in a graph. Age pyramids typically display the age group of male and female of a population. The pyramid design reflects the rate of development of the population, whether it is stable, expanding, or declining. Now let's check population density. It is the measure of population per unit area. Population size or population density designated as N need not necessarily be measured in numbers only. It is sometimes difficult to determine the population density. In an area, if there are 200 rice plants and there's a single large tree, it states that the population density of the tree is comparatively low compared to that of the paddy plants. But its ecological role is enormous. In this case, the percent cover or biomass is used to measure the population size. Is it possible to count the number of bacteria in a Petri plate? No, right? So we employ the relative density concept, in which the relative density of the population is taken without doing the actual count. Population size is definitely not a constant factor. It constantly varies in response to factors like food availability, predator activity, and unfavorable weather. Whatever the underlying cause be, there are 4 basic processes that determine whether a population of a particular area increases or is decreasing. 2 of these processes leads to an increase in size and the other 2 leads to drop in population. Can you name the processes? It's natality, immigration, mortality, and emigration. Let us see them in brief. Natality and immigration are the positive factors and mortality and emigrations are the negative factors. Natality here refers to the number of births during a time period that is added to the initial density. Mortality is the number of deaths in a population during the same time under consideration. We have heard of immigration and emigration very often. Can you define immigration and emigration? Immigration means the number of individuals of the same species come into the habitat from elsewhere during a particular time period. And emigration is the number of individuals leaving a habitat and going elsewhere during the time period. Now, the question is, how will the population size be calculated? The population size n at a given time is nt plus 1 is equals to nt plus b plus I minus d plus e. Here, b stands for the number of birth, I stands for immigrants, d stands for death, and E stands for emigrants. N stands for population density and NT stands for population in beginning. From the equation, it is clear that the population will increase if birth plus immigrant is greater than death plus emigrants. Similarly, the population will decrease if death plus emigrants is greater than birth plus immigrants. The 2 elements that normally affect population size are birth and immigration, while the 2 only matters in special circumstances. Next, we'll deal with growth models. You already have learnt plant growth patterns in 11th grade. Does the growth of a population shows a predictable pattern over time? Yes, there are predictable growth patterns. Let us see them. The first pattern is exponential growth pattern. When resources in the habitat are unlimited, each species grow in numbers in an exponential or geometrical manner. If the population size is represented as n, per capita birth rate represented as b, and per capita death rate as d, then increase or decrease in n during a unit time period t will be dn by dt is equals to b minus d into n. Let b minus d be r. Then the equation will be dn by dt is equals to rn, where r is the intrinsic rate of increase. Now, the above mentioned equation shows the exponential or geometric growth in a J-shaped curve when size is plotted against time. The integral form of this equation is nt is equals to n0 e raised to rt. Here, nt is population density after time period t. N0 is population density at time 0. R is the intrinsic rate of natural increase. E is the base of natural logarithms. The next growth model is logistic growth. No species has access to unlimited resources. So, when the resources are limited, there is competition in nature. Eventually, the fittest will survive and reproduce effectively. Let us call this limit as nature's carrying capacity, or K. Nature does not favor increase in population beyond the carrying capacity. A population in a habitat with limited resources shows a lag phase, where population increases drastically, and when it reaches the carrying capacity, the population gets stability, showing no increase or decrease. If we plot n in relation to time, we'll get a sigmoid curve. This type of population growth is called Verhulst-Perl logistic growth. It is described by the following equation. dn by dt is equals to Rn into k minus n by k, where k is the carrying capacity of nature, n is the population density at time t, r is the intrinsic rate of natural increase. We have discussed the different attributes of population and understood the population growth matter. Well, what do you think? Which type of growth model will be realistic and why? Try to answer it. Let's now summarize what we have learned.
Manorama Horizon. Learning made simple.